Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro lens. And I'm now in Kuala Lumpur Bird Park. I want you guys to come along with me and see what I can capture with this new OMSystem lens. Let's do this! Full disclaimer, I don't own this lens. This 40-150 f4 Pro is on loan from OMD World Imaging. They are the official distributor for Olympus and OMSystem products in Malaysia. Special shout out and special thanks to the amazing people in OMD World Imaging. And after whatever I'm doing with this lens, and of course I'll be doing a review later, I do have to return this lens to OMD World Imaging. To be honest, I just got this lens yesterday and I haven't done any testing. This is my first outing with this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro. So for today's session, this is not a review. I'm just walking around the Kuala Lumpur Bird Park and try to get some sample shots and see how this lens performs. This will be my first impression and hopefully we can get some interesting bird shots. Of course, my full review for this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro will come sometime later, not just from today's shooting sessions, but I do have to go out a few times more to really put this lens through its paces, to really test it, shoot different kinds of subjects, get enough sample shots before I can make my conclusion on my thoughts on how this lens performs. The review will come out maybe sometime in the next few weeks, I don't know, but I'll do my best and I'll definitely make that review happen, so stay tuned. For this particular session, I will not just do photographs, I will also intersect some of the sample shots with actual footage of the birds, recording it with my Olympus OMD EM1 Mark III. I know this is not the latest OMSystem camera, I don't have the OM1, but hey, I think the EM1 Mark III is still a fantastic camera and it's still more than enough to really test what this 40-150 f4 Pro can do. So you have a mix of actual video footage and also sample shots from this new lens. For those of you interested to find out, my camera settings for this session is very straightforward. I use aperture priority at all times. I do vary the aperture, though most of the time I shoot at a wide open f4. Of course, I vary the focal length to test the sharpness at whether it's 40mm or all the way to the longest end at 150mm. And of course, sometimes I'll stop down the aperture to f5.6 or f6.3 to have more depth of field to see more zone in focus. ISO, I'll try to stay as low as possible, as close to the base ISO 200 as possible, and that's it. Everything else is left to automatic. I use autofocus, I use auto white balance, I shoot in RAW, everything will be processed in Capture One editing software. We'll see what kind of shots we can get. So far from this short session using the OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro, the autofocus has been blazing fast. It is super reliable. I got my shots, I nailed them in critical focus again and again confidently. That's a plus point. And even at f4 wide open, all my shots were super sharp. I can resolve incredible amount of details. I was very happy with the optical performance of this lens. I guess that's expected from a pro level lens from Olympus or OMSystem. As for f4, I know a lot of people will complain it is not enough. We want f2.8 to render blurrier background, shallow depth of field, but I think with a longer focal length, like full 150mm, f4 is okay. You can still render very shallow depth of field, effectively separating the background from the subject, and the bokeh quality is excellent. I guess the biggest selling point for this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro is the compact size. For such a long super telephoto zoom lens, it really is very small. And if size is important to you, you want to minimize your footprint, you want to carry as little as possible for travel, or you just want something really small, then this 40-150 f4 Pro should be at the top of your consideration. It is super sharp, optically it is amazing, it is weather sealed, it is still a pro lens. I'm sure some of you will ask, hey, how does this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro compare to the other 40-150 zoom options? Say the f2.8 Pro version, which is obviously superior. It is f2.8, you have brighter aperture, you can blur the background better, you can use it in low light. But that f2.8 version is also a lot larger. Then there is the super budget 40-150 f4 to 5.6. That is a non-pro lens, it is not weather sealed. Of course, in terms of image quality, it is not as good as this pro version, and it has no weather sealing. So far, my shooting experience with this OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro has been very positive. Of course, I've only been using it for the past 3 hours. I will need to use this lens a lot more before I can make my review. I need more sample shots, I need to go out for a few more sessions, testing this lens, get more shots, and really see if there's any problems or any issues with this lens at all before I can make my conclusion. Of course, in my review, I'll say the things that I like and the things that I dislike as usual. Now, if you are a professional photographer, I'll just honestly tell you, get the f2.8 Pro version. I know that lens is a lot larger, but the f2.8 brighter aperture will give you a lot more advantage. You can do a lot more with your professional shoots. This, I think, I'm not saying that the f4 version is not for pro, but if you are using this lens, if you have a lot of light to work with, say you're shooting out in the open like this with plenty of sunlight, then it's not a problem. But f2.8 will give you an advantage if you shoot with low light, if you want to blur the background better. Anyways, so far I get excellent results with this lens. I can't wait to use it more. That's all I have to share in this short session shooting in Kuala Lumpur Bird Park using the OMSystem 40-150 f4 Pro. If you like my photographs, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how you can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way, will definitely help me to continue making similar videos and publish them right here. Also, stay tuned to my full review, it's definitely coming. I'll definitely see you again in the next one. Until then, please go out and take more photographs. Bye bye.